little bit added on, like formulas, and that's it.
Alright, so P2 is just the Cartesian coordinate system.
That's a name.
Well, that's what technically every graph is graphed on a Cartesian coordinate plane. I just don't usually ever refer to it that way.
No one does.
Yeah, most people just don't. I mean, there are other kinds, like there's like a polar coordinate system, things like that. So there are other ones, but for the purpose of pretty much everything we do in your high school math classes, this is what we're using. So just a reminder of what absolute value means. Okay, we can define it piecewise, which means we can break it up into pieces here. So I'm going to do the curly bracket. So I can have A, negative A, or 0. So it's A if A is greater than 0. Negative A if A is less than 0. And it's 0 if A is equal to 0. Okay, so the absolute value of A can give us any of those three options.
The last time I seen it described like this was literally Mrs. Earhart's class in Algebra 1.
Yeah.
I don't remember much from that year.
Me either. I always would get in trouble for not showing Word.
Yeah, I don't remember anything from like...
Or talking. It was either those two, and then I would get in trouble, and I was like, okay, I'm just not going to talk anymore.
That's great. That's what you're supposed to do.
I was going to say, that's a good thing. All right, properties of absolute value. Let A and B be real numbers. And there's going to be 4 of these, so just heads up. So we have the absolute value of A is greater than or equal to 0. The absolute value of negative A is equal to the absolute value of A. Okay, because no matter what, it comes out positive. The absolute value of A times B is equal to the absolute value of A times the absolute value of B. Okay, so that one just says we can break it up or put it together, and they're the same thing. And similarly, we can do that with division. So the absolute value of A divided by B is equal to the absolute value of A divided by the absolute value of B, assuming B is not equal to 0.
Ooh, pretty.
Distance formula.
I forgot this part. Isn't it like x1 minus x2, and then parentheses y1 minus y2? I forgot what else is in there.
Yeah, so that's going to be we're going to have 2 distance formulas here. So yes, you're pretty close on the one for the coordinate plane. I'm going to first do the one for the number line.
I just don't remember exactly. I forgot like what sign.
You're pretty close, honestly.
And there's also a square root. I know that too.
Yeah, and you square the things that you were saying. So the distance formula for a number line. So again, we're going to let A and B be real numbers.
So why is there 2 again?
So this one is just if we're just dealing with a number line. So like there's like if we're just dealing with like the x-axis, let's say.
What I was saying was we're like
if you have the like
triangle.
x and y, like you're on a coordinate plane.
Okay.
Or like if you're like doing the distance between the points on like the triangle.
Yeah, because I saw that example in the book. I just didn't like put this distance formula down. Well, I had to open the book when Mr. Cass was here, or he would have been like, why is your book not open?
The distance between A and B is the absolute value of A minus B. Okay, remember distance always has to be positive. That's why we're dealing with the absolute value. And just a note with that, the absolute value of A minus B is equal to the absolute value of B minus A, because it's going to come out to be the same number. One will be positive, one will be negative, and the absolute values make them be equal.
So you get one number, or do you get two numbers? No.
Just one in this case. Yeah, just one. Just the distance between two numbers,
Because I
basically.
remember sometimes
So this
when
is
you get
like,
absolute value, you would get like two answers, kind of. I
yeah,
forgot
so we'll,
exactly what it
yes,
was for.
but with distance, we can never use the negative answer, so this is making sure everything becomes positive.
Okay.
So this would be finding the distance between 2 and 10 on here, and this would be something like, so 10 minus 2 and take the absolute value of it, that's equal to 8, or I could do the absolute value of 2 minus 10. Well, that's the absolute value of negative 8, which is still just 8. So either way you do it, comes out to be the same thing.
Okay.
So that's what we're dealing with when it says for the number line. Really quickly before we do the other one, I'll remind you of the Pythagorean Theorem.
Yeah, that actually is it. I almost forgot.
A squared plus b squared equals c squared.
I have a question. What are like the special triangles? I forgot. The form, like the.
45,
No,
45, 90, and
I
30,
didn't mean
60,
like that. I
90.
meant like to find the links of it. Isn't it like 1, 2, and then the square root of 3, and then.
Yeah, 1, 2, root 3 for 30, 60, 90, and then 1, 1, root 2 for the 45, 45, 90.
Wait, what is it? 1,
1,
3?
1,
Why are you
root
trying to
2.
know this? We don't need it right now.
But we will. I know that for a fact.
In the future.
You will, and I think it does come up at some point in this chapter, but I can't remember for sure.
You don't need it right now.
All right, so then the distance formula for a coordinate plane. So this is the one you would be more familiar with.
This is the one I've seen most of the time. instead of
Yeah, this
the
is the one we use most of the time. It's very rare that I ask you the distance between two numbers. If I'm going to ask you that, I'm probably just going to tell you to subtract the two numbers. It does come up on occasion, but the distance D between points P being x1, y1, and Q being x2, y2 in the coordinate plane.
Hey, you're not using like U, V, and W. It's
That is
P and
true.
Q.
Is D is equal to the square root of x1 minus
Yeah,
x2
that was close. And then it's squared.
Squared.
And then
plus y1 minus y2 squared.
we had to like remember all these formulas. That's how I kind of remember.
And remember, if we switch them, if you do x2 minus x1 or whatever, and because again, same principle as the absolute value, because you're squaring it, it's going to become positive, so we don't have to worry about dealing with a negative under the radical here in any way with the way this falls. We've just got a couple more things really quick. Taylor, if you need to go, that's fine. You can just get the last couple formulas later.
I've got 4 minutes.
Okay. Just didn't want to keep you and get you in trouble or something.
It's not like I'll be in trouble.
Are
It's
you
just nice to
speaking
get
today?
there. Yeah.
Then you're fine. Well, like, the guy
I just have to get my like mic and then hear the announcement so I know if I'm supposed to be standing there or not.
All right, so the midpoint formula for the number line. Okay, so again, this is just like the 2 and the 10, okay, on the number line and finding the midpoint between those two numbers. So the way we do that is just a plus b divided by 2, where a and b are endpoints,
It's 6.
okay?
I think that would be usually well for common sense too. I feel like you wouldn't just need to know that. Like if you had the number line
Derek,
written
you have to
down.
stop talking because I want to finish my notes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think he's just on a talkative spree today. You know, I think this is the most I've ever heard him talk in class.
At least relating to the material.
I'm like, wow, Garrett's really like talking today. Like, I don't think he's ever talked this much in class.
I think he just likes the small class. Y'all never really had a small class before.
Maybe he's
It
just
is
nervous.
super nice. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
usually quiet during like big
We know,
classes.
you never
I
talk.
hate big classes.
And now you're just like.
All right,
because
so
I
the
can actually
midpoint formula for a coordinate plane. Okay, so again, this is back on the XY axis. So the midpoint of the line segment with endpoints AB and CD is, hold on, I need to rewrite that just doesn't look good. So this one is giving you an ordered pair, so it's A plus C divided by 2, so that's going to give you the x coordinate of your midpoint. Okay, so it takes the two x coordinates and then divide it by 2, and then we're going to do the same thing with the y coordinates. So B plus D divided by 2, and that gives you the midpoint on your coordinate plane. And then the last thing is just the standard form equation of a circle.
Gosh, I hate circles so much. They just annoy me.
Yeah, they just equal like 80 degrees. Shut up. And the point isn't even in the middle. It's just
Okay, I get it. I can't draw.
The
okay?
standard form equation of a circle with center HK and radius R is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. Okay, if it's centered at the origin, just as a refresher, we would just have x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. So tomorrow we'll do examples with this, and then Monday we'll probably do some of the notes videos just to get those recorded, and then that way everybody can be here for the next section kind of, and then we'll go from there with proceeding. By then hopefully I'll have it so that some of the notes videos will be able to be posted for you guys so that we can just do examples in class and then you won't go home with like homework problems.